Now that you have a pivot table created, you will probably want to make some formatting changes to match your needs. If you haven't already, click on any cell in your pivot table. On the ribbon, you will see the pivot table tools highlighted with two tabs, Options and Design. We already covered some of the tools on the Options tab, so now we'll move over to the Design tab. On the Design tab, you will see three groups. The Layout group lets you control whether or not the subtotals and grand totals are displayed. You can turn off the grand totals for both rows and columns. Or you can control the grand totals for the rows and the columns individually. Here we'll leave them on for both rows and columns. The Pivot Table Styles group lets you select the color and line formats for your table. If you want to see all of your options, you can click the More button on the right side of the Pivot Table Styles group. Or you can scroll through the gallery and preview your options on your table by moving your cursor over each option. Once you have your basic style selected, you can refine it by using the checkboxes in the Pivot Table Style Options group. Here you can turn on and off the coloring for headers, or include color bands for the rows and columns. You can also make changes to the summary function Excel uses in the pivot table, as well as the way in which the numbers are displayed. By default, Excel uses the sum function to add up the values of the salary field and display the totals in the table. But quite often, you will want to use a different type of function, like an average or a count of observations. To change this function, click on the Sum of Salary field in the Values box of the Field List pane. At the bottom of the menu, click on the option for Value Field Settings. This will open a dialog box that will let you change the summary function used in the table and change the formatting of the numbers in the table. To change the summary function, select an option from the scroll menu under Summarize Value Field By. For example, instead of getting the sum of everyone's salaries, let's get the average salary. When you click OK, you'll see that the pivot table now displays the average salaries for each gender and employee position instead of the sum. You can see that female employees earn about $115,000 on average, while male employees earn about $116,000 on average. The numbers in our table look a little messy, and since they're supposed to represent dollars, we would like to display them as currency. So let's format them a second time. Again, click on the Average of Salary in the Values box of the Field List pane. Now select the Value Field Settings from the menu, and at the bottom of the dialog box, click on Number Format. From the list, you can select how you want the numbers displayed in the table. Since the data is for salaries, select Currency in the category list. Now we get some additional options for currency. You can select how many decimal places you want to display. We have too many in our table right now, so let's clean it up by only displaying 2 decimal places. Next, we can select the type of currency used in the data, and there are many options to choose from. Since this is an American company, we'll stick with dollars. Once you've made your selections, click OK to close the Number Format dialog box. Then click OK again to close the Value Field Settings dialog box. Great! Now your pivot table has some nice formatting and displays the salary data the way we want it to. In the next video, you'll learn how to filter the pivot table to display subsets of your data. You'll also learn how to sort the data in your table to change the way it is presented. We'll see you then.